In this video, I hope this is a set of rear seat belts for my 1986 Citroen GSA. Now, before I get started on this one, let's quickly talk about speedometer cables. The reason I couldn't fit the speedometer end first is because of a fixed washer on the cable, so it had to come from the engine bay side first. I think that washer has to be on the engine bay side. I could have cut it off if I had anything suitable for cutting it off. I don't, and replace it with a rubber bung that maybe I could hold in place differently, or a load of Sikaflex or something. But yeah, that's what I put up with, the pain. But anyway, on to seatbelts. The first thing to do, and thank you to this courier for actually being able to deliver, unlike DHL, is open. And the best thing to use is completely the wrong tool for the job. I found a screwdriver is kind of the perfect wrong implement for pretty much any job. Now, you learn these things. Brown tape is a sod of a thing to try and deal with, and it's also not very easy to do one-handed. Here we go. I think approaching in. I'll get the bag off and we'll try again, because I'm not even filming this very well. So here are our seat belts. They are brand new PN254s by Citroen. I've bought these myself because yeah, I think that's probably a good idea. I thought I'd go brand new because this is because my girlfriend has children, and you know, girlfriends tend to be quite precious about their children, and I think that's probably the right way to be. So let's open up and see what we've got in here. These should be inertia reel seatbelts. These are always fiddly and tricky to do, especially when you're on camera feeling under pressure. Just come out of there, why won't you? There we go. I don't think unboxing videos are going to be my thing, are they? We've got a nice buckle. I don't really care that they don't look exactly period correct. I would rather just have seatbelts that work. We've got all the fixings. Hopefully I have a socket that will fit those. I still have a limited toolkit with me. We have instructions. This should probably be red, and might be, you never know. And somewhere in here we will have the main seatbelt itself. Oh, come on, don't tease us. There we go. So that's the bottom unit, and then we've obviously got the top mount on there and bottom mount down there. So next job will be to see where these actually fit on the car itself. Now notice we've got some adjustment here. I think that's because you can have these mounted that way up, or you could have them flat depending on the car. So I think that's to change that, to make sure they lock in the correct manner depending on how they are installed. I don't even know how they're installed, so we'll have a look. Alright then, what have we got? That looks very much like a bottom mounting down there, I would say. So the buckle must go in there. That's going to be an interestingly tight fit. Yeah, I wasn't quite expecting that. Oh, I see, we've got levers here to fold the seat. Oh, that's really convenient, so you can't do it one-handed. They weren't thinking of YouTubers when they did that. We also haven't got a split folding seat, so I think I'm going to try and fold the seat to get better access back here. Where does the upper mount go, I wonder? The upper mount must be under here somewhere. Right, let me try and open things up a bit. The shelf out, but which we'll briefly discuss, because it's a two-part parcel shelf. So just flip it like that. There's this fixed shelf that goes to the farmost part of the boot, and then a flappy bit. It is frankly the crappiest arrangement I've ever seen. It's full of sharp edges under here, so when you're trying to reach around to reach these middle release clips, you end up slicing your fingers to pieces. So yeah, it's amazing how a company can come up with such fantastic engineering in terms of suspension design, and then be quite so rubbish with bits of trim. But I think these need to come out by the look of it. So we've got this trusty screwdriver, a big screw here at the back. This is fun. I'm completely new to these cars. I don't know what's what. Right, got that piece off, having discovered there's 2 screws hidden under there. Can't easily remove this piece because it's held in by a Torx at the bottom. That wouldn't have been standard. But yeah, the seatbelt seems to go through here. And the mounting is here for the buckle. This is quite a confusing layout. And I've sort of got the seat folded back, but we should have lower mountings under here. Hopefully under those bungs, I guess. Might have to have a look down there before proceeding too far, maybe. Now here are the bungs. So it looks like there isn't actually any mounting point for a centre belt, so I'm glad I didn't bother ordering one of those. So we'll just go for the outer pair and treat it like a 4-seater, which is fine. We can pull out the centre armrest, allegedly. All is good. I've got too much crap in these footwells, that's what's going on. That's why the seat won't fold properly. I might have to do something about that. But there's the wiring. You can see, as on most Citroens of this era, quite a lot of the wiring is green. And on 2CVs they often switch to grey when they run out of green, so that was helpful. Not. Let's dig into the fasteners first of all. Now, one issue that often happens with seat belts is people don't use the right bolts in the right holes, so I will be using the instructions. Bear with me a moment. So, but I think they're all the same thread. So we'll come under here and just make sure that goes in there. That's a negative, Captain. Brilliant. Will that go in there? I thought they were all the same pitch, but maybe they're not. Oh, this would be very French to find out all the bolts are a different size. Oh no, that's going happily in there. So there we go. We must have 2 different thread pitches then, I imagine. Is that the same? That looks different. It's a slightly longer one. I mean, it looks the same to me, but who am I to judge? That's way too big, I think. Yeah, I wouldn't say that was happy going in there. It could be that the threads are just clogged with paint. This is a car that has been fully restored after all. Paint can often clog up the threads. I know it should be a TH, I just can't do THs. Yeah, that feels very much like what's the case there. I haven't got any taps to try and clear these out, so I might just have to try and be a bit brutal with the bolts and hope I don't destroy the bolts in the process. Yeah, annoying. Well, there we go. I've got both of the bolts in there. They seem to turn, so that's encouraging. So we can get on to actually trying to fit these belts. A quick shout out here to my trusty Oppo phone. The better quality of the recent live streams have been done on this old thing. I was using a Galaxy S7, but I've gone back to the trusty Oppo, battered as it is, because it's just quite a nice phone to use. I just found a Marley, marble, and that's interesting because I was wondering about a colour stripe scheme of orange and yellow, because I think that'll contrast very nicely with the black. You also note, as I think I've mentioned in a previous video, but I have taken the wheel trims off. I don't like them. I far prefer the open wheel design. I just wish I'd cleaned the wheels before thinking that up. Right, I think now probably is time to check the diagram just to make sure we're using the right bolts and the right spacers in the right places. Because whoever fitted the front seat belts to this car neglected to use spacers and that is problematic. So now the spacers there. So I'll get everything out and work out where everything goes. Oh, it won't be long, I said. How hard can it be, I said. Yeah, look, we've got typical Citroen going on here. I've got to try and get the seatbelt buckle in here and get a bolt into there in this tiny little box full of nasty sharp edges. Oh, Citroen, why the hell did you do this? This is proving not to be fun. Also, the belt keeps locking. You've got this adjuster to tell it which direction it's being pulled in, and that should free it up and let it come out nice and easily, but it doesn't seem to be quite the case. I'm not sure what's going on there. Was that the sound of someone bringing me tea? Sadly not. So yeah, turning over from one of those fun jobs. But oh, this is a bloody nightmare. Can't really get anything on the bolt to screw it in. There's just no room, there's no access. Just about get a socket on it, that works. Can't get a ratchet spanner on it because this bloody case is all in the way. And I haven't got a ratchet, I've got a slightly bent breaker bar. And this is going to be very, very slow progress indeed. I don't have a 3/8 ratchet, and I don't have a suitable socket to go on my 3/8 inch ratchet, which is crap at the best of times anyway. I tried putting a 17 on, but then it's just not long enough, and I've got a very limited toolkit because most stuff is in the unit. This wasn't really meant to be a toolkit, this was just kind of leftover tools. So it's a very random selection of utterly pointless crap. So yeah, why the hell would you do this? How the hell did Pierre do it on the production line? Because this is just beyond a joke. Nope, I'm officially filing this one under cannot do. I need more tools. I need a proper 1/2 inch ratchet so I can actually get on that thing. Or a 3/8 and a tiny extension, but I don't think that's going to work either. What a pain in the backside. I'm still not sure about this either. I believe the seatbelt should run through here, but that's like, I mean, it's not a sharp edge, but you wouldn't call it a smooth edge. That doesn't seem ideal. Should there be a little plastic clip in there, I wonder? I might have to approach the G section of the Citroen Car Club to find out. I also think the buckle's the wrong way around, but I think we can turn the buckle around, so that's all right. Not fretting about that. Oh, bloody Citroens. Well, I've made it to the unit, as you've probably seen in another vlog. I did a vlog on just getting here. This is the important thing. I've got my Draper toolkit. It's not a sponsored post. Oh, I wonder whose rust that is. Oh, that's probably from the Toyota when I parked it here last time. Yeah, hopefully not from this car. But more to the point, I've got the tools I need to get this job done. Primarily a long, I think it might even be an 11/16, but this might be a metric only set, and indeed is. But I reckon I should have a suitable socket, and I've got a mixture of extensions and all sorts to hopefully crack on with this job. I thought I'd clean the tools last time I put them away, but it doesn't look like it, does it? So I think the first job might be to try and work out where my gloves are. Yeah, the site I'm on, where my unit is located, is deserted today. There's nothing going on, so social distancing is not going to be an issue today. Now, if you were a box of grippers gloves, where would you be? Well, it's amazing what difference the right tools make. In this case, universal joint on the 11/16 socket, and that's now locked into place. The seatbelt comes out as it should. Now, in terms of routing, I think it's going to have to go through here, despite the slightly rough edge. But then it'll go through a piece of plastic on top. So I'm hoping the parcel shelf trim has some soft guide on it, and it does, looking at it. So that's really just to guide it up through the hole in the plastic. So I think we'll be all right there. So the next stage is going to be to thread everything through here, and then bolt it to the lower mounting down there. And then we'll get the third point, the buckles, bolted in as well. So we're getting somewhere. This feels like progress. And like I say, having the right tools does make all the difference. Yeah, another joyous quandary. This buckle is also going to have to go through this bit of trim so it can bolt back in here. But the buckle is too big to go through that small hole there. I mean, it barely gets through this larger hole up here. I'm going to end up having to cut this, I think, just to get the buckle through. Because no matter what I do, that is not going through that hole. Ugh. Right then, I've cut my way through it. I've got some black tape to try and stitch it back together on the inside to minimise the damage, but at least now I can get it through and progress. Well, here we go then. There's a seat belt, and that's where it plugs in. And there we go. We've got both seat belts fitted. An absolute pig on both sides, but yeah, it does occur to me I could probably do with a better interior for this car. It's a shame interiors aren't exactly easy to come by. This is a plush Palace, but it's a slightly knackered Palace, alas. So not the best. But there we go, we've got both done. So I'm going to pack up, chuck a few more things in the car to take away, and then ponder when I'll next see this lot again. It's sad old times, really. I'd love to get more of them out for a play, but not today. So like I say, the next thing that will happen once lockdown gets eased is I'll probably come up here, try and get the 2CV MOT'd, and yeah, do a bit of a swap after 2CV for a bit. The City Rover remains at the MOT garage and they're not open, so I might have to find another garage to get an MOT, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. We're entirely in the lap of the government, really. See what they do, and then we'll see what adventures we get up to this year. But yeah, take a look around, because it could be a while before I'm here again. Hopefully not. I'm hoping it'll be merely a few weeks and then we can wake a few other little cars up. But until then, I shall say thank you very much for watching my ham-fisted attempts at mechanicking, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Farewell.